let's bounce over to speak with Miss Ethel Araya, otherwise known as Kuki. She is president of the Nosara Civic Association, and she's going to share with us some community concerns about real estate from her perspective. Kuki, welcome back. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're talking about real estate. As president of the Nosara Civic Association, you know probably more than anyone else what the main community concerns are. So in this real estate episode, we want to address the fact that there are a lot of community concerns involving real estate. Tell us what the community is concerned about and what you hear the most mentioned when it comes to real estate.
What comes to the NCA inbox, it's there's a lot of concerns about trees being cut, which, you know, especially when new land is being developed and, you know, lots that are going to be houses. I think that's pretty clear that it happens. I think there's ways to manage it, right? But we'll go maybe in another episode about that. I think Gerardo, to a certain point from Costa Rica, had a great idea. I think we get a lot of emails about quebrada setbacks, you know, like flows of water setbacks, which, you know, changes depending if it's like, you know, sometimes if it's registered as a quebrada, that's my understanding, or if it's registered as just a drainage, or if it's flowing all year or not. That happens a lot. We get also information or questions about invasions in the Ostina Wildlife Refuge. So people, especially in lots that border the refuge, just to make sure that they're not cutting there.
And is there an area? I'm sorry, Kuki, is there an area between Ostina all the north all the way down to South Guiones? Is there one area more than others that gets hit with questions about the refuge infringement?
I think Pelada, because you know that recently Pelada has been having a lot of development. Many of the properties are turning there in Pelada. So Pelada, I would say it's the one that people ask the most. And, you know, most of the role of the NCA, and that's what we're trying to do, you know, try to spread factual information and also appoint people to addressing these situations, either directly with their neighbors, because that's the best thing you can do. Like, you know, let's cut the crap. We're all grown-ups. Go knock on the door and be a nice neighbor and be like, hey, you know, I noticed that this is going on. It just, I mean, if it's going to be your neighbor, don't you want to have a good relationship with them anyways, right?
So yeah, I have too many bad social media jokes to come up with immediately, because I thought what you're supposed to do is hop on a Nosara gossip forum and type stuff out to holy hell and create a bunch of outrage.
I can't tell you I'm off social media. I still have my profile, but I erase it from my phone, both Facebook and Instagram. And I'm a happy person now because of that. I'm a happier person. I think I was happy before too. But yes, no, social media won't solve it. And sometimes you just like throw it out there and it's in the air and it just creates more misinformation. Approach your neighbor. You know, it's the best thing that you can do. We can also tell you where to file the correct complaints or get the factual information, because we have to be mindful. The NCA is not the law here, right? There's municipality for certain things. There's national government for certain things. There's CNAC for things in regards to the Ostina Wildlife Refuge. There's Ministry of Health in terms of water disposal and noise pollution. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're trying to do, to invite people to be a little bit more proactive and try to be more solutions oriented when these kinds of things. One that I haven't mentioned yet that has recently started to pop up is wastewater. That's something that it's also a concern. You know, thankfully now in Nosara, we have this great program from the Wildlife Conservation Association where they're doing monitoring of water and just being aware of the contamination. And just because of all the studies that are related to the regulatory plan and the analysis of the aquifer, knowing how to treat all that water, you know, we all go to the bathroom and flush the toilet. Where is all of that going? So that's important. And I can see already that being kind of a concern as the town keeps growing. I think I said it before in your podcast. Nosara has everything that it needs in order to be like a year-round residential community where people can live here. Our big issues are internet connectivities, right? So that we can attract all those digital nomads, which it's being addressed. You can see everywhere the ISE guys installing the fibra óptica. And wastewater. That's going to be something that, you know, thankfully our asada in Playa Guiones, Playas de Nosara Asada has already been having those discussions, because at the end of the day, asadas are the ones who have to address wastewater. So the sooner that we start having that conversation, I think the better will be for the entire community.
I got you. All great feedback and points. So thanks for sharing that. And as we do more and more of these real estate episodes, we'll start to break down some of them individually and what we can go into more specifics. But for right now, the goal is just to help the community understand what's coming in, what are the questions, what are the most common concerns, and all that type of stuff. So thank you for sharing those. Moving on to my next question. How do we make all that happen if we won't talk to each other? Or if somebody brings up a subject matter, they get jumped. Like, for example, if I were to advertise a property that's located in a desirable spot, people alone will see the price point and say, oh, the realtors and the commission, oh, the greedy sellers, oh, somebody built a house by there, I'm still mad about that. Like, it just comes out of the woodwork. That's actually causing the real estate offices to not want to communicate. It's because they'll get attacked so quickly. So I see this chasm. How are we going to address this stuff you're talking about if we attack the people who you want to address the people coming into the community? You see the conundrum that we have? So we want the realtors to say certain things and represent certain things. Okay, that all makes sense. That should happen anyway, hopefully. The reality is the realtor does not control what someone can legally do with the property.
Absolutely, 100%.
So this is, but hold on, let me finish this point.
No, I agree with you.
Well, this is forgotten about all the time in every conversation, everywhere. You even did it earlier when you were just talking. You just fly right through it. The realtors have all the control. That's the perception that's out there. And I kind of want to hold up a mirror to it and say, hold on, the realtors are very influential. They certainly are the barrier to entry and the first point of contact. And the people who buy from whoever they buy from generally get pulled into their circle kind of sphere of influence. That's just kind of how it works. I'm also trying to get rid of that too. We should just communicate to when you come into the community, welcome to Nosara. This is what makes it cool. Could you please participate in that? As opposed to yelling at them or coming hard online. That just makes people not want to communicate. So I just can't get past that thought in my head.
I think that, if Mahoma doesn't go to the montaña, right? At the NCA, we're willing to go and visit. And we did it at some point a couple of years ago. But, we're willing to try it again. I'm waiting a little bit for the business of the season, as I understand, passes so that, we can have ears. I'm hoping that we can go to Surfing Nosara and that you will have all your realtors there so that we can speak about the work plan. And specifically, like before the people in real estate, there was a better communication with the Nosara Civic Association. It was almost like given that if you bought in Nosara, you were a member of the NCA. And that way you would already, you can start having all that information. But I mean, going above the NCA, it would be great if, and I proposed that to you before, if every time you say you do a sold, you'd be like, and you know what? I really believe in community organization. We're going to cover your membership the first year of the NCA so you can get to know this community organization, and hopefully you will be more involved. That would be something that I think would put realtors in the, would give them good PR, let's say it this way. The other thing that has happened in other communities, and we could mimic that, and I heard it also from people in real estate. I think a couple of years, I think it was Andres Gonzalez who talked about that. It's creating kind of like a self-imposed real estate tax that could go to community projects. So if there is ways that, every time you sell a property, and, in some towns around the world, this is mandatory, every time that there's property transaction, a percentage goes to a community fund that could go to buy more land for protection or fund community initiatives. That could be another alternative that realtors could speak about. And if they self-organize and do something like that, again, good PR for realtors as well. And yes, to your point,
those are good points.
You're not, I also have heard the case of people, of good friends of mine that said oh gosh, I sold to this person and now they're destroying everything. Like, what have I done? Like, that's not the intention. So yeah, realtors don't control what people who buy are going to be doing 100% there, but they can influence for sure.
Yeah, all good points. That makes sense. Are there any other suggestions you wanted to make? That was interesting. Some of the items you just thought of. Do you want to elaborate on any of that, or should we do that for another episode?
Yeah, I mean, let's hear what people say back about those two and see if there's a potential. What's the point of having a bunch of ideas if we can just pick one and make it a reality? That would be such a great success for the community.